Blutbart.
Hello and welcome back to another behind the scenes toy photography video. This week I'm going to show you how to take a simple photograph using a TV as a background. I call this shot Rivals. For this shot, I swapped the heads of my Chancellor Palpatine and Darth Sidious Black Series action figures. One of my all-time favorite lightsaber duels occurs in Season 5 of the Clone Wars, where Maul and his brother's rise to power in the criminal underworld catches the attention of Maul's former master, Darth Sidious. Sidious declares that Maul has become a rival and summarily kicks his ass, killing Maul's brother in the process. My setup for this scene was a simple paving stone as my ground surface, with an interior shot of the Mandalorian Capital Sundari as the background. I placed Palpatine directly in the middle of the shot as my main subject, and then posed the Dathomirian brothers just behind him. I positioned all three figures so they were facing the camera because it's boring to look at the back of a character's head. Once my toys were in place, I aimed a couple small spotlights with red filters in their direction. I put little barn doors on each light to avoid casting too much glow around the shot. Here's my starting shot. I used a tight aperture to keep all my toys in focus, which resulted in a pretty dark exposure. My main objective for this edit was to lighten up some key details and draw in the lightsaber effects. I started by adding a levels adjustment layer to the characters and a color balance adjustment layer to the whole shot. Next, I used the healing brush tool and content aware fill to remove all the articulation joints on my characters. After that, I used the dodge and burn tools to further refine the lighting on my subjects. Then came the fun part. I may be in my late 30s, but something about lightsabers always makes me feel like a kid again, and that includes when I get to Photoshop them into my photographs. Using the pen tool, I created the paths around the blades. I then converted the paths into outlines and used the brush tool to paint the white core of the blades onto a new layer. Using layer effects, I added an inner and outer glow to the blades. And finally, after creating layers out of the effects, then merging them into one layer, I added a slight amount of Gaussian blur to soften the effect. Lastly, I added a few final touches. I removed one of Savage's horns, since it was cut off by this point in the timeline, and I used custom brushes to paint in lens flares on the sabers as well as some dark side eyes for all my subjects. So once again, here's my starting image, and here's where I ended up. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing, and make sure to check me out on Instagram. Thanks, and until next time!